my squad, drop a tune. When I die, they gon' write legendary on my tomb. And my baby smile brightens the room.
Okay, so who can do the best KB Sparks intro? 1, 2, 3, go. Hey
welcome
guys,
back to my YouTube channel.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl KP
No,
Sparks.
it's your girl KP Kimberly Sparks. I love
What?
my
Kimberly.
She's doing what you talking about?
Are you gonna try again?
Can I just do it's your girl KP?
I don't even know what you said at the beginning of the video.
What? Imagine LT didn't get this either. Go ahead.
I got like 3 eyelashes in my eye.
Hold on. Hey y'all, it's your girl Kimberly T. Welcome back to my channel KP Sparks. As you can see, we have a few guests here. You want to introduce yourself one by one? Starting with Israel.
Hi everyone, I'm Israel.
She said her name.
Say something interesting about you. I don't know.
Oh, I go to Destiny Church. Y'all like it? They like it, but they all go there.
I'm Noella. And interesting fact, I ran track in college.
Yeah, she's a beast.
My name is Gabe. Are we saying Instagram handle or
You
no?
can say it out. I'll get y'all the way.
Cool, that's fine. Yeah, I'm obsessed with the color blue.
Oh, both of us.
My name is Rich. That's about as interesting as it gets.
Just say something.
Alright. Hey guys, it's your girl Mo Diggs, and I am here on KP Sparks' channel today. Tea is. There's actually tea in the cup. There's actually tea in the cup, and it's actually really hot, so I was like, let me chill. But anyways, today, KP, you better tell them. We're talking about the hottest of the hottest. So today, we're creating a video. Oh, not here. Okay. Today we're creating a video. It's gonna be called "Think Like a." You still laughing? Think like a man versus think like a woman. We try and get into the male's mind and into the female's mind, just to understand the opposite sex a little bit more. So I'm gonna ask a few questions and we're gonna answer them. Y'all ready?
Yeah. So for guys, I don't really think so, honestly. Like, I think I see a lot of like playful tweets, you know, like where like I saw a tweet the other day that said like pretty girls don't like it was like pretty girls don't like fine guys, they like ugly guys who tell good jokes and dress well or whatever. And I was just like laughing, but pretty much like there's this playful thing about like, oh, like women aren't per se looking for guys who have like a perfect body. I don't know. I just don't think, you know, like, I don't think that's the first thing that comes to a girl's mind. Like, I think that maybe like dressing and stuff like that would be like first, you know what I'm saying? Or is he handsome or stuff like, you know, those things. I think they would come before a woman thinks like, oh, is he in great shape or something like that. That's just my opinion though.
So you personally have never felt pressures to have a perfect body?
No, I think for my own insecurity, I've felt that just because of me, the way I would like look in clothes and stuff like that for my own self. But I never really felt the pressure externally, like from somebody else to be like, I never felt like, oh man, like in times where I wasn't attracting the female attention, I didn't feel like it was because of, you know, like me not having perfect sculpted body or something like that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So that's just me.
I definitely agree. I think there's no ad or post or anything that ever made me feel like, dang, that's a guy.
Yeah.
Oh, dang, true.
It was just, I don't know. It's not that
dang, must be nice.
they were tough. It didn't seem like that was the standard. It just seemed like that was what was used.
I think there is pressure depending on, I guess, like the era or time of when you're growing up. I can think back to maybe even conversations with like parents or family members or just the need for your, I guess your appearance, I guess your size or something like that to matter, as opposed to like the actual context of you just being healthy or you just actually being like whatever size you're supposed to be for your age and height or whatever the case might be. So I think there is pressure depending on like whatever space you may be in. However, it's definitely not something I think is a driving, like dictating factor for a lot of guys as far as like losing weight or motivation and stuff like that. I think there are a lot of other factors that we can talk about, but maybe not pressure to have a perfect body per se.
Yeah, and I agree with that, like in a way where like I know like maybe like being African, parents, aunties, and uncles will come around and be like, "Oh, you've gained weight," to a guy.
They say that to y'all?
They'll leave it. Yeah, they'll leave, but they'll leave it at that. It'll be like a humble like phrase. Or so, like, you know, somebody will be like, "Oh, like, so since I've got married, I've gained some pounds." So they'll be like, "Yeah, you need to stop eating your wife's cooking." Like, just leave it and just like leave it at that. But then I know with women, it's seen. Y'all probably expound more, but I know with women, you're not gonna find a husband because of this, da da da. You know, kind of putting stuff. But with guys, it's just maybe a humble joke, you know, or whatever. And that's really more so if you're more on like a heavier side, not even really like with pudge or just guys who are like slightly, you know, like whatever.
So if you're skinny, I was you're gonna not say, ever
skinny guys. I feel like the perspective for super skinny guys is really different.
Yeah,
because super skinny guys always get like, like you don't eat,
right, stuff like that. Yeah, but I feel like guys in general, I feel like they don't go like deep. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll probably say something like that and then leave it like.
You never talk about it like, son, I'm gaining a little bit of weight.
Nah,
that's never a conversation.
Yes, they do. That's why y'all be grouped up in the gym.
No,
yeah. You never see guys now. That's not themselves. That's not you.
We talk about overall health.
We say we're gaining weight or we talked about that stuff.
Yeah, we talk about it, but it's not like
a
pressure. Like, yeah, it's like, oh, I've been in the gym, or I'm trying to do this more, or if your friend group kind of leaves that space open for that, you know what I'm saying? Like me and my guys, we talk about health and stuff like that. It's just not body shape, but it's like, yeah. So I mean, we'll talk about things that we can do for each other, or we'll try to motivate each other by saying we did this or share this thing or whatever. So it's not, but it's never pressure from.
Yeah, I do like what Gabe touched on a little bit as far as like insecurities as well. I think a lot of times, and this could have been maybe when we were growing up or with our different guy friend groups, but there's like the insults where they might call you like fatty, or if you're skinny they might call you bony, or whatever the case might be. And I think that could do something to you psychologically, where as you're growing up you start feeling like, dang, like I always have to consistently be in the gym or consistently like reevaluating my body. And again, going back to the point about like not really focusing on your health factor, whether or not you are really healthy and are doing well as far as your body goes, but you're just kind of focusing on like the appearance. I think it can get crazy. I have seen situations where men and women have had like problems dealing with them loving themselves for who they are just because of different comments being made about their size.
So what about, so gentlemen, what do we think about the height conversation?
She's so funny.
6 foot and up, you know?
Yeah. It's all a joke to me. Your father ain't even 6 foot.
Oh, you're
understand the whole like cute thing of women wanting to look up to their man, blah blah blah. Me, I'm like 5'10" or whatever. I'm not really like tall per se, but I've never felt, oh, I want to be taller. I never really cared. But I think me personally, but I know how much girls throw shade out about height and stuff like that, and to me, I'm just like, okay, I hear you. If you want to continue to look for basketball players, you can do that for yourself. But you know, I mean, there are guys, but that doesn't add to your, you know. I mean, when y'all wear heels, sorry, I keep doing that.
No.
When y'all wear heels, you know, okay, you still want to be taller than. I mean, there are definitely celebrity couples where, you know, short guys be and they look fly together.
But I feel like shorter guys, like, first off, I feel like shorter guys overcompensate for them not being taller. Like, it's either they joan a lot when they're growing up, or they talk too much, or they're just extra cocky. Like, it's just like they are really big-headed because they're trying to make up for the fact that they're not taller. Yeah. That's what I've noticed.
When you're short, not shorter. If that makes
sense. So I think
but that's what I'm saying. You wouldn't experience.
No, I have shorter friends.
I'm about day type, like 5'9". Yeah.
He said he was 5'10".
Yeah, about day type, like.
I'm about 6'2".
Yeah, Richie's tall.
I don't got nothing to do with that. I can't relate.
I've said things about it, but I know a lot of women who just spout it out of their mouths as if it's like, it serves an emotional purpose to them.
I don't think it's.
You know, so
it's just preference. I don't think it's a big deal.
Wait, KP, how tall are you?
I'm 5'3".
So you want a 6 guy tall?
I mean, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind someone that's my height. Now my height.
I'm body shaming. Oh my gosh, I'm body shaming.
It's a little habit. I don't want to limit God, okay?
No,
but that's not the topic even on my party list. Like that's not gonna make or break a good marriage for me. Like that's I don't know. That's not.
However,
That's not.
It's different. It's different. No, it's different when you're 5'9".
Yeah,
when you're a 5'9" girl trying to date a 5'6" guy like that, or 5.
Yeah, you talk. You thought what?
9. I feel like,
yeah.
So like I know. I have personally have people close to me who are like considered taller females or whatever, and they have slightly a harder time like finding like when they like a guy. Sometimes it just be like the people around them make it
Worse,
weird.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like even if they because I feel like when you actually like somebody, it doesn't come into play immediately, but like. When I think the people, because I know like maybe 2 to 3 girls who are like on the taller side, and so I know that people around them make them feel a little weird about it when there's a guy of interest like that's this height or whatever. Right. So would you date somebody your height? You said yes.
Yeah.
Wow. You're not even really saying
yes, but I don't.
KP, you're 5'3".
No,
Wait, Noella, what do you
I
think?
have negotiables and non-negotiables.
Height is
but
height is not a non-negotiable.
Height isn't a non-negotiable on my list.
Cool. So if he had everything, most of everything else you would want, you would be. And he's about a little. Let's say he's a little shorter than you, and you're already short. Yeah. Look how she's
non-negotiable.
As far as for me, I've been small. Like I was small all before college, and then college came, and it's not like I got really big, but like I put on a few pounds. You know, I went home, and mom was like, "What's going on?" Right. And it was like every time I saw a new aunt from me being in college, like, "What's going on?" And I felt very like insecure, and it didn't start from just college. Even when I was smaller, like in elementary school, like body images that you see on the TV screen, everybody has a flat stomach, like everybody's like they just look like they're perfect Barbie dolls. Even you never see a chubby Barbie doll. So what's fat to you? So I've definitely experienced like weight issues or society making me feel like I have to have a perfect body. Like, and that's something I'm telling myself now because I'm doing Fit Fam journey, but I'm telling myself to love myself at every stage.
As many people know, I ran track in college and in high school, so I'm more on a different perspective when it comes to weight. I have obviously been fit like my whole life. I think I've had abs as long as I can remember.
Wow.
So
Can't really.
It's really hard for me to say. But the insecurities come from not being filled where other people are. Like, obviously, as a track body, you know where we are filled. I don't want to be too descriptive here. But when you see other people in like, middle school, they start filling up, like especially like in the upper body, and you're like, dang.
Bust.
We're adults.
You can say bust.
I can
I prayed for them in high school. And middle school.
Your bust.
I didn't
Yeah. So I think bust is a safe word.
Okay.
Bust is.
Or you can just say bust. It's not. You know.
If you're really going to what can do, say
It's okay. Well,
It was clear what she was talking about.
I mean, for me, a lot of people in the beginning, when I was probably like in high school, would be like, "Oh, you're too skinny, eat." I'm like, "Fam, I'm trying to eat as much as I can." And then you get to college, and like, honestly, people were putting on freshman 15, and I wasn't relating. So it wasn't hard. It was hard for me to be like, "Yeah, I feel you." Didn't feel you. I was in the gym. We had no choice but to be in the gym. So it was hard, but I definitely felt insecure. Like, dang, they fit that dress real nice, and your good sis is lacking in the front. It's good sis.
Or have you ever felt the whole thing about like being like muscle tone?
Yeah, it's very hard because like I won't say any names, but one of my dear friends, he jokes, but he calls me the Hulk.
Wow.
Yeah, you know who you are.
That's drastic.
I love you though.
That's drastic.
That was drastic.
If you see
You're
me,
not even wrong.
He's mad. He's mad.
No. He's being very funny.
No.
In a joking manner, like if you see my race photos, we are very.
Oh no. Race photos are OC. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the muscles are very prominent.
No,
so
man.
what can we do?
When I saw, so my wife ran track also. When I saw one of Deb's race photos, bruh, it's scary.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was scary.
It shows every muscle.
It shows every muscle in
yeah,
your body, like every single ab. Like it's a lot. So for some people, if they want their woman to be soft and all that, and I definitely am not. So for me, it's like, dang, like I won't be, I don't know, beneficial to you in that area because I'm as toned as it gets. You know,
But tone is good too.
You gotta think about the long run.
Exactly.
Yeah, because that bounce back from the pregnancy, bounce back.
30s, 40s, 50s, gonna be looking nice.
Let's see. Okay, well, actually, I kind of got my like body dysmorphia because I honestly do have body dysmorphia where I think I look like I'm 250 pounds when I'm like, no, yeah, I actually do, and I'm just being transparent. Like I really, really do have body dysmorphia, and I didn't realize it was a thing until I didn't like the way I looked in the mirror, but I would love my pictures like on Instagram. So I'd be like, I'd look at myself in the mirror, I'd be like, oh my gosh, you're hideous. Like, why you need to go back in the gym? Why are you so big? Then I'd take a picture and I'd be like, whoa, she is cute. So I really realized like and learned that I have body dysmorphia, but it also stemmed from growing up having an African parent. My mom, she was fit fam, so well she wasn't fit fam, but she was snatched, like she was there. And so when I would get like a little bit of a belly, you know, like, and she would just be like, well, but you have to sit down, like you'll look like a building, you know, if you keep eating. Yeah, and I'm sure in her head it was harmless, but like, yeah, well, they don't hold back, and they don't. And my dad is hefty, so she'd be like, you wanna look like a runner, like, you know. So like she would really, oh no, yeah, like. And yeah, and she would literally like go in, and so these are things that like grew with me. So as I'm gaining freshman 15, and I was never skinny, like I'm blessed in the bottom, and so like hold on, I've always been, you know, I've always been kind of thicker there. So
okay,
wait, she can't.
Describe myself.
Go ahead,
I was blessed in that buttocks.
Talk about it.
We're adults.
No, but I know we're grown.
Y'all definitely not like adults, but go ahead.
Wait a second. Wait a second.
You know I'm good.
I was always on the thicker spectrum, even if like my top was jacked, it was just like, oh yeah, you know. So growing up, it was, and being around other people, I played sports too. So I was never as fit and as toned as the girls that were on the sports teams because I was thicker and I was, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, right now I'm still dealing with it. I'm still learning to love myself at my healthiest best. But it is something that I've just been, you know, unfortunately, I just can't see myself the way that other people see me. And you have things like, oh, I went through a stage where I just knew I was going to get implants when I got older. Like, I just knew, oh yeah, like, yeah, I just knew I was going to get my boobs done and I was going to get an even bigger butt when I was, yeah, I just knew it. And then I got older and I was like, wait a second, that looks really dumb. Like, and it just, it's not worth the health risk. But you have people like, you know, Kim Kardashian, Beyonce, who does get her body done, even though people want to say she doesn't. You know, like, let's just keep it a stack. You know, you have these people, who are known as, like, I don't know, just stars and beautiful and the body norm. And you're like, hold on, wait a second. Like, when I sit, my tummy sits too. Like, so, yeah, that's just, y'all pray for me, okay?
That's so crazy because Mo has lost a ton of weight. It's just so crazy. I think that
it's
amazing.
I feel that body dysmorphia thing though.
Yeah.
After college, in my head, I gained 50 pounds and it was like really bad.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't true, but I just convinced myself that I did.
I'd literally be saying things like, oh my gosh, I look like a walrus. Oh my gosh. And I literally have to catch myself.
Yeah.
I have to catch myself and be like, Mo, you're fine. Like, calm down. Like, you're fine. Like, you're healthy. You look great. Like, so I'd be having to give myself, I call it talking myself off the ledge. I have to give myself pep talks and like remind myself that I'm beautiful because I'm always reminding everyone else how beautiful they are. But it's like, sometimes you gotta look in the mirror.
That's a good point.
And, you know, just remind yourself how poppin' you are and how great you look, because we don't even know what kind of seeds were planted when we were younger that make us think about the way that we, you know, I had to dig deep and figure out, why do I think about myself like this? And I just remember my mom saying I look like a building. It's like, I was like,
now for real, for me it'd be the, like, people thinking that I look like a guy because I'm muscular. Somebody literally walked up to me and they were like, are you a boy or a girl?
Oh my god.
Shut up. I was.
They saw like my arms, they were like, are you a boy or a girl?
But that's not even a big.
They came out and asked you?
That's not like what?
Yeah,
they came out of their dirty mouth. I remember growing up as the older child, I was like the boss of the family. So I personally didn't show emotion. I then in turn bullied my little brother whenever he tried to drop a single tear. Like, this youngin' could not cry. Like, and to this day, I think I've scarred him. He's growing in Christ, so it's fine. He's fine now. But like, I had to like literally repent and ask God for forgiveness for what I did to my brother when we were younger. Because I used to be like, bro, why are you crying? You're such a, you know, like, you're such a this. Like, stop being a little girl. Things like that. And, you know, he would just, and I would be like, yo, you can't show these emotion, like you can't you got boss up. And
hey, where you learn that from?
I don't know. I grew up in the ends. You know, you know, a lot of our adult life, we didn't have our dad in the picture. So I had to make sure, I just was like, bro, I have to make sure that you feel like you have a father figure. And I am that. And so, yeah, like, I've actually firsthand witnessed that whole concept of like taboo of showing emotion and things like that. And it even was in me, but we're not talking about me, we're talking about the guys. Ooh. So Richie?
I think Mo addressed a good point. She said that she wanted to almost make her brother feel like there was a father in the house. When my dad actually lived with me, I hope this doesn't come off as any like hatred. I really love him. But when my dad lived with me, there was a lot of slander that kind of made me think like, dang, what am I in this household? Am I a mama's boy, or do I want to be like my father? And I think that kind of gears a lot of the decisions that you make when you're having those feelings towards like, just, am I going to show feelings? Because if I wanted to be like my father, I would never show that feelings. So those feelings, so it would kind of build that numbness in me. But because I loved my mother so much, it was like, dang, I don't care that I'm showing these feelings. So my dad would be like, dang, you a wussy, you a sissy. And out of that slander, it was kind of like, okay, because I loved my mother so much. Now, I've seen a lot of brothers around me that I grew up with. I've grown up with a lot of my brothers since like elementary school, and the way that their father spoke to them kind of geared like how they would view themselves, whereas like, and now I have to prove myself to be a man, where I have to fight to actually, I can't lose a fight, I can't lose an argument, different things like this. Simple things, even like waves, were enough to make a boy feel like a man. And it was interesting to me because for a while, I think being in that limbo of like, should I try to be like my father or just keep loving my mother, kind of put me in numbness until I was saved. And when I got saved, it was kind of like, dang, like I love to love now. Like I love joy. Like Proverbs 17:22 is my favorite verse because it says the merry heart is like good medicine.
Yes, I love
and like,
that verse.
I just run with that forever because I know that like the joy was enough to stop me from being sad when my father would like kind of like down Richie. And even to this day, like I'm the type of person that would be in church like, give me a hug, bro. Or you a snack, bruh. Or I love you, man. And the snack thing and I love you, it makes some people feel uncomfortable. And those are the people that I want to talk to the most, where it's like, if I tell you I love you and you don't say it back, I'm going to text you this week. Because I want to figure out why it was,
that's a good word.
It was so uncomfortable.
It is tied into how you grew up.
So yeah, that's my perspective.
That, and you can really hear how in touch you are with your masculinity. You know what I mean? Because feelings are tied to femininity, if that's the word, and like being like a tough guy is attached to masculinity. But you can hear how he's really in tune with, I don't know, it's beautiful. That was really nice to hear, really refreshing.
What about crying now? Do you guys, would you cry in public? Would you?
Don't y'all all cry?
I mean, generally speaking, like emotions, crying, like all those things now, I think nowadays they're more accepted. Because bromance is a thing. I think media has made it acceptable. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you have more movies and more shows that show and highlight that thing. You know what I'm saying? Where guys are very buddy, like, you know, like loving and stuff like that. I think in like previous times and years, and I really, to really go kind of left but still within the topic, I do believe that a lot of guys join like fraternities and stuff because I think in that setting you can love your brother and be with your brother as much as you would like to be, but publicly outside of that setting it wasn't okay to do that. Not saying that's the only driving force to, you know, but literally that allows you to like go through things with people like men. Love y'all because those are your brothers. Y'all going through trial and tribulation and stuff like that. And so I think you can show public affection. Like for our brothers, if they show public affection, it would have been like in another time it may have been chill. Whereas like now regular guys who are just friends, it may have been seen as like weird and stuff like that. Like where me and Richie might joke, be like, yeah, you beautiful today, bro, or something like that. And like older times it would have been more like less accepted. So if somebody sees a man crying now, it's like cute. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, when, you know, all those videos that show the men when their wives are coming out. Women like jokingly, I'm saying this, worship those videos, like they love it, you know, whatever. In a previous time, we'd be like, why is he crying like that? Like,
yeah.
You know.